Hello, and action. Hey, I'm back. Yeah, I'm sitting down. Hey, I just rambled on for almost 10 minutes about this. Everybody's a critic about this great IPA here. But I want to talk a little more, and I'm not talking specifically just about this one that I'm drinking now. But more about the style in general. And hey, I'm Tom, the Beer Whisperer. Did I mention that? Ta-da! Hey, how are you? Have we met? Wow. Well, I tell you what I'm doing here is I'm spacing these out over a good amount of time. I had the resin earlier today, and I waited about an hour after finishing that before popping this because when you're drinking a beer like this, IPAs especially, but even more so with the Imperial IPA, if you're changing beers, you really have to stop and let your palate catch up with you, or you're not going to taste it correctly. So I had to had to wait a little bit, cleanse my palate, and then pop the next one. You can't pop beers like this back to back, or you're not going to catch them correctly. I see we're picking up where we left off. If you're sending McGee to Metro, wow. More so with a beer like this than even an Imperial Stout. The malt won't attack your palate quite like the hops will. I mean, these are very pungent, very astringent, so they're going to take a little more away from you. Or have you forgotten? I'm remembering this here. Stuart and I popped one warm when he was here, at the same time as drinking a resin, which wasn't the smartest move. Yeah, not the smartest move at all. But we did. We drank two resins and a Hoptimum in less than an hour's time, and then Stuart proceeded to sleep for about 6 hours. So anyway, wow. And I had to say, after drinking that warm and drinking this one now, flavors will open up as it warms up, but I have to say personally, my personal palate, my personal taste buds, I do like it better with the chill on it. And I'm not talking freezing the bejesus out of it. I'm not talking about like you want to drink an American lager, about 33 degrees, 34 degrees. But these beers are, for me, I like it better with a little chill because although you will get some other flavors as it warms up, that's kind of part of it for me is letting it warm up a little bit. I don't want to start with it warm and then go from there. I do like it better starting with a little chill, but drink them the way you like them. There are that certain school of beer snobbery that thinks there's only one way to do anything in any style. Everything has to be drank this way or this way, or I'm not a believer in that at all. I'm a believer in drinking things the way that you like them, whether it's in the norm or not. Obviously, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that to be the case too. If you're a guy that likes to do beer review, do them the way that you want. Don't be influenced by anybody else. There isn't a right way or a wrong way to rate a beer, in my opinion. There are certain school of snobbery, I guess, that thinks things have to be done a certain way. I don't subscribe to that, and I don't get into a lot of that beer snob mumbo jumbo. Oh, wow. This is an interesting. Any of these great big styles are like this too. I mean, it's certainly not. It's the same with imperial stouts as well. That's why I have a hard time assigning grades because of even amongst these four that I've had. I mean, quite frankly, they're almost four different beers and four different styles, even though they're technically all double IPAs or imperial IPAs, because there's so much little differences amongst them. It would be really hard to assign which one I like better. One, two, three, four. It would just change at any given moment depending on what I'm looking for that day. And it is kind of that dirty little secret amongst beer snobs that, as much as some of them would deny it to your face, but the truth is that there are some you know, darling breweries out there that can do no wrong with certain beer snobs. And I've known people that there's even certain beers that they may not have even tried, but they'll tell you they love it just because it's hip amongst a certain beer crowd. I just don't get into that nonsense. Like the stuff you like, whether it's popular with the beer crowds or not. But there are certain darling breweries, and you all know who I'm talking about, that no matter what they do are going to do no wrong. So that's why I have a hard time subscribing when people say, "Well, this Imperial IPA is the best in the world." When there's certain, there's no one person. Probably no one person that's tried every Imperial IPA in the world. It certainly, you could say, "Well, this is the best that I've had," but the truth is, I don't even know how you can say that because, again, things change. When did you drink each particular beer? Where you're more receptive at different times. Maybe you were more receptive to that one at that specific time. Maybe it was a season. I mean, there are so many factors. I have a hard time saying. I had one friend I had sent several beers to. He sent me several first. I sent him several back, and there was one that he said he didn't get. And I said, "Well, you didn't like that one." He says, "Well, I never say I don't like it. I say I didn't get it." And I thought that was a great, great response. Some beers, for whatever reason, our palates aren't receptive to. I thought it was great of him to say he didn't say he didn't like it. It's just that one particular beer didn't work for him. And I think that's the case with a lot of these. That's why it's so hard to say. I get kind of makes my head hurt when you see people say, "Well, this one is the best." But have you had this one? No. Have you had this one? No. I mean. Then how do you know? But in many cases, it's because it was this particular brewery or that particular brewery, and people are always, "Oh yeah, that's a good one." Uh, there are so many good new breweries out there. I live in Springfield, Missouri. Mother's isn't very old. They are a young brewery that's really an up and comer, making some great stuff. Um, I've had to spend a lot of time in St. Louis over the past year, um, and then because of that, I did try some breweries that were out there, and I didn't realize until I had to spend so much time out there that they had so many small craft breweries. Six Row, Urban Chestnut, Four Hands. You've all heard me talk about Civil Life. Gosh, there are several others that I just never can remember them all at one time. There's some brew pubs, Ferguson. I mean, there's just so many out there. Augusta's not far from there, and all of these guys are knocking out great beers. So some of them at the moment are just in a specific area or neighborhood. So it's really hard to say. A lot of the best breweries across the country are these small neighborhood breweries that may not ever get anywhere but their locality. And that's the great thing. We're kind of getting to pre-prohibition days where there's a lot of towns that have these little small breweries, and maybe they are knocking out some of the best stuff in the country. Nobody is ever going to know unless you live in the area or you're passing through. So, uh, wow. This thing is wow. It's a it's a woo. It's a palate wrecker for sure. Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's why you can't. I'm not even sure you should drink. I've had friends that say they'll drink a six pack of Hoptimum or Hop Slam a night, and I'm not even sure why you'd want to do that because after you've had the one, I mean, unless you're waiting. Like I said, I'm waiting an hour in between beers. If you're not doing that, I mean, you're wasting the beer. You know what I mean? It is. I mean, because your palate's shut down, man. There's no way if I popped another one of these back to back, I mean, right after this one here, I wouldn't be tasting it correctly because I mean my palate's already covered with all this, you know. Applebee's new entrees are full of flavor and under 550 calories each. Oh. You have to taste it to believe it. Well, I guess I've rambled on long enough again. I just wanted to finish this up, talk more about double barrel IPAs. Why not? Because I can. Oh, wow. See, I'm starting to feel it. I love it when a beer starts to work, don't you? Not so much. But that's okay. You're covered with great ideas like optional better car replacement. Oh, wow. There's a lot of flavors going on here. If you want to, it's certainly one I would recommend to try. So, Sierra Nevada Hoptimum. If you're into these great big IPAs, that's certainly one to try.